Welcome to First Sleep Aid, calm stories to help you unwind, learn, and fall asleep. From true crime to curious facts and thoughtful ideas, always softly spoken. Subscribe now and take a deep breath. You're in good hands.
Welcome. Today we're diving into a case that's, well, it's stuck with people for decades. The really perplexing death of Günther Stoll.
Yes, October 1984. A 39-year-old food engineer from West Germany. And the circumstances are just bizarre, aren't they?
Utterly, you get this strange note, YOG'TZE, his claims about these four unknown men, and then the scene where he's found. This doesn't add up easily.
Exactly. And what makes it so enduring, I think, is that mix of solid facts. We know where he was at certain times. We have the note, but also these huge gaping unknowns. Our goal today is really just to lay out what we do know, look at the pieces carefully.
Right, see where it leads us, or maybe just understand why it remains so unresolved. So let's start with Günther Stoll himself in the time before that night.
Okay, so Günther Stoll, he was a trained food engineer, lived with his wife in a place called Anshausen. But leading up to October 84, things weren't great. He was unemployed.
And there were health issues mentioned, physical and maybe psychological.
Yes, that was reported. And tied into that, or maybe separate, was this growing sense of, well, paranoia. He kept telling his wife, friends too, that they were after him.
But never specified who they were.
Never. No known enemies, no criminal connections, nothing obvious that would make him a target. It seems to have been this free-floating anxiety, this feeling of being watched or followed, which is, a crucial backdrop to what happened next.
Definitely. It sets the stage for that specific evening, October 25th. What happened in the kitchen?
So it's around 10 o'clock at night. He's in the kitchen with his wife, and apparently he suddenly blurts out, "Jetzt geht mir ein Licht auf." Now everything becomes clear to me. Or, now I get it.
Like a sudden realization.
Okay. And then the note.
Right then, he grabs a piece of paper, writes down YOG'TZE. YOG'TZE. Very distinctly.
With the apostrophe, that seems specific.
Very. But almost immediately after writing it, he crosses it out.
Yeah.
Vigorously. And then just walks out of the house. Wow. So a flash of insight, writes this cryptic thing and scribbles it out, leaves. Where did he go first?
The next confirmed sighting is a local pub in Wilmsdorf, sometime between, say, 11 p.m. and midnight.
And what happened there?
He went in, ordered a beer, but before he even took a sip, he collapsed onto the floor.
Collapsed, like passed out. Was he drunk?
Apparently not. Witnesses said he didn't seem drunk, just overwhelmed, maybe disoriented. He got up fairly quickly and left the pub, didn't drink the beer.
Strange. Just gets stranger. What next?
From there, he drove to Hager-Seelbach, to the house of an elderly woman he'd known since he was a child.
A familiar face then. Did he seem calmer?
No, quite the opposite. He was apparently very distraught when he arrived. He told her something terrible is going to happen that night.
Did he say what? Or mention they again?
No, very vague, just a sense of impending doom. She was concerned, urged him to go home, maybe see a doctor, but he just left her house.
And after leaving her house, that's when the timeline goes dark for a bit.
That's the gap. He leaves her place around maybe 1 a.m., and he isn't found until between 3:0 and 3:30 a.m. So a couple of hours are just missing.
Okay, so let's jump to the discovery. Truck drivers find his car.
Yes, near the Hagensud exit off the A45 Autobahn, they see his VW Golf wrecked off the road.
And Stoll.
He's inside the car, but here's where it gets even more bizarre. He's naked, completely naked, injured, but alive and conscious.
Naked and conscious in the wrecked car. Did he say anything?
He did. This is crucial. He told the truck drivers who found him that there had been 4 men in the car. His words were VR type and like 4 guys. He said they'd been with him, but they ran off.
4 men who ran away. And those were basically his last words.
Pretty much his last coherent statement. He died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital.
So the scene looks like a car crash, but then the forensics come in. And it doesn't quite fit, does it?
Not at all. The autopsy revealed massive trauma, multiple bone fractures, severe internal injuries, but the injuries weren't typical for someone in a car crash.
How so?
Investigators concluded his injuries were much more consistent with being run over by another vehicle, likely while he was already lying naked on the road surface.
Run over. So not injured by the crash of his own car.
That was the conclusion. There wasn't the kind of road rash or specific impact damage you'd expect from being thrown around inside a crashing car or ejected. It pointed towards him being hit outside the vehicle.
Which supports the idea that the crash scene was staged.
It strongly suggests it. The theory became that he was fatally injured somewhere else, or somehow, and then placed inside his wrecked car to make it look like an accident.
And adding to that strangeness.
No sign of a struggle inside the Gulf, nothing to indicate a fight took place there. Also, toxicology reports came back clean, no significant alcohol, no drugs.
And his clothes, you said he was found naked.
Vanished. His clothes were never found anywhere near the scene, or anywhere else for that matter.
Okay, let's circle back to those two core mysteries then. The note, YOG'TZE, and his claim about the four men. What have people made of YOG'TZE?
Oh, endless speculation. It's the most famous part of the case, probably. Because he was a food engineer, the obvious first thought was, something industry related.
Like yogurt?
Yeah.
Or some kind of additive code?
Exactly. People looked into production codes, ingredients, brand names. Nothing matched. No known food industry code or term looks like YOG'TZE, especially without apostrophe.
So maybe not food related. What about other theories? Codes?
Well, yeah. People wondered if it was some kind of military code or maybe intelligence related. It looks a bit like some code formats. But again, no agency has ever recognized it. No known cipher produces anything meaningful from it. It's a dead end.
Any other attempts to decode it? Chemical formulas? Linguistics?
People have tried linking it to chemical compounds, nothing conclusive. Linguists have wondered if it's a misspelling or maybe represents sounds phonetically or just a totally made-up word where the apostrophe is like a syllable break.
Or could it just have been nonsense? A product of his paranoia or distress?
That's definitely on the table. Given his state of mind, maybe it meant something only to him in that moment of imagined clarity. Or maybe it meant nothing at all externally. We just don't know.
Now the four men.
Yeah.
Veer type in.
That's the other huge question mark. His dying words. Was he telling the truth? Were there four other people with him who somehow caused his injuries, staged the crash, and fled?
But there's no evidence for them.
Absolutely none. No other witnesses saw anyone fleeing the scene. No footprints, no fingerprints, nothing left behind. So the alternative is, was it a hallucination? Caused by the trauma, the stress, his underlying mental state.
It's completely 50-50, isn't it? A real account or a delusion.
Exactly, and we have no way to verify it.
Then there's that time gap between leaving the elderly woman's house around 1 a.m. and being found around 3:30 a.m. 2 hours or more, completely unaccounted for.
A total black hole in the narrative. Where did he go? Was he alone? Did he meet someone, perhaps these alleged four men? We have no idea what route he took or what happened during that time.
And crucially, we don't know where he got those fatal injuries. Was it near the crash site or somewhere else entirely during those missing hours?
Precisely. Was he attacked? Was he forced out of his car somewhere? Did he get hit by a car accidentally or deliberately miles away? The fact his clothes are missing and there wasn't a major blood trail found right there, it suggests the main event happened elsewhere.
So, looking at all this, these fragments, what are the broader possible explanations people consider?
Well, one is rooted in his documented psychological state. Perhaps the paranoia escalated dramatically, leading to the strange note, the erratic behavior, and maybe somehow accidentally or intentionally ending in his death, with the final claim being part of that distress.
But the forensic evidence complicates that simple picture, right? The being run over part.
It does. It's hard to square a purely internal psychological crisis with evidence suggesting he was run over by a vehicle while naked on a road and then placed in his car. It points to external factors, possibly external actors.
Which leads to the second major possibility.
Yeah.
Foul play. Murder.
Yes. That someone, or some group perhaps, the four men, silenced him for some reason, inflicted the injuries, and then tried to make it look like a road accident. The staging of the scenes strongly suggests deception.
But the big problem there is motive, isn't it? And suspects.
Exactly. Who would want to kill Günther Stoll and why? If they were real, who were they? No clear motive has ever emerged. No suspects identified.
Have there been any more, let's say, out there theories connected to his job, maybe?
There has been some fringe speculation. Because he was a food engineer, maybe he stumbled onto something sensitive. Industrial espionage, contaminated products, blackmail related to the food industry, and maybe YOG'TZE was a clue to that?
Pure speculation, though.
Entirely. No evidence supports it, but people try to connect the dots when the main picture is so blurry.
So, after all this time, nearly 40 years, we're left with the same core questions.
Pretty much. What on earth does YOG'TZE mean? Who were the four men, if they existed? Where was he, and what happened during those missing 2 hours? Why was he naked? Why stage the accident?
And why has nothing concrete ever surfaced? No deathbed confessions, no new evidence.
It's baffling. Despite significant media attention in Germany over the years, featured on crime shows like Aktenzeichen XY Ungelöst, it remains stubbornly cold. One of Germany's most famous, most unsettling, unsolved cases.
The YOG'TZE case, as it's often called, it really highlights that frustration when a narrative just stops. No resolution.
It really does. It's a case defined by its absences. Absence of meaning for the note, absence of evidence for the companions, absence of explanation for the scene, absence of motive, absence of suspects, and ultimately an absence of closure.
It just hangs there, this collection of inexplicable events surrounding Günther Stoll's last hours. A true cipher.
A potent reminder that sometimes, despite our best efforts, despite investigations and speculation, some events remain shrouded in mystery. We want answers, we crave explanation, but sometimes there just aren't any forthcoming.
A really unsettling thought to end on. It makes you wonder, when you look at all the strange pieces of this case, what single element feels the most disturbing, the most difficult to reconcile? What sticks with you the most?